All right, I just finished You Shouldn't Have Come Here by Geneva Rose, and unfortunately, I think this was one of the worst thrillers I have ever read.
God damn, she looked good in those leggings. Most women couldn't stomach the harsh reality of ranch life. But Grace clearly wasn't most women. I wanted that bottom lip. It was plump and begged to be bitten or sucked on. I ran my tongue against my teeth and imagined sinking them into her.
So let's talk about the plot a little bit. This is a story about a woman who comes to stay in an Airbnb in the middle of nowhere in Wyoming. And the host, we don't know if he's creepy or maybe a love interest. And this is kind of what the story is about. I won't give away what happens in the end, obviously, no spoilers, but you can kind of figure out more or less what's going to happen. I mean, the author does a split narrative, which she also did in The Perfect Marriage. So I'm wondering if that's just a Geneva Rose thing. I haven't read her other novels, so I don't know if she always does this or not. So we see half of the book from the perspective of Grace, who is the Airbnb guest, and then the other half from Calvin. And so, first of all, this doesn't even really feel like a thriller until maybe the last 20%. It's a lot of this awkward sexual tension, and it's just kind of poorly written to me. And since we have Calvin's, chapters where he's speaking in first person, I didn't really think that he was like the sexy guy that they're trying to make him sound like, because everything that he says is just so creepy. Like, it's obvious that he's trying to keep Grace in the house like forever. Like, everything he does is super creepy. He's like really obsessed with her. And so I couldn't even really enjoy, kind of like a love lust story going on there. And Grace, it's just clear that she has some other motive for being there. Some of the weird stuff going on in the house is that Calvin has this basement that she's not allowed to go into, and she doesn't have a lock on her door, and there's a missing girl, and the police keep coming by like every day being like, oh, have you heard from that missing girl who was supposed to check in here last week? Everything is just so obvious. And the other characters in the book are all super cheesy. Let me just say, if you're from Wyoming, you will be so offended by this book. I mean, I don't think I know anyone from Wyoming, but I'm pretty sure they don't speak with like a country bumpkin vocabulary and accent, because all of the characters speak this way, and it's really embarrassing. Like, get me one of them beers, darling, and like the other things that I read. And the characters are just really cliche. Like, we have this girl who is obsessed with Calvin, and he's not interested in her. And the way that she talks to Grace, Grace will she drops the glass, and this girl Charlotte is like, yeah, well, that's what happens when you come somewhere where you don't belong. Like, she's acting like some like high school bully, and she's like a grown woman, and everything is just so over the top, really cheesy, really bad. If I had to think of something nice to say about this book, it would be that there are a lot of these like revelations throughout the book and twists and stuff like that that really kind of keep you turning the pages. Not that any of it is really all that surprising. And it does end with this kind of big bang, kind of like in The Perfect Marriage, wink wink. So it will definitely not be like too boring. You'll finish it within a day or two. So if you really want this kind of like woo Lifetime movie, fake scary kind of thing to read, yeah, you might enjoy this. For me, I'm a little bit worried that I might not be reading any more thrillers for a while I recover from the corniness. Yeah, so this book really wasn't for me. I'm hoping that maybe the other books written by this author are more on par with The Perfect Marriage and not so much this book, because now I feel like I don't really want to read more from Geneva Rose. I'm curious, what other books have you read by her, and are they better or worse than You Shouldn't Have Come Here?